It is my honor and privilege to announce that I will nominate Judge Brett Kavanaugh to the United States Supreme Court.
I'm Dr. Barry Goodfield. I want to talk to you about a current uproar going on in our Capitol. All the 6 FBI checks over all these years don't count. There's something here that causes a real question about this person's character, and you better think about it for the simple reason that this person may be very well somebody who's going to make decisions that affect the lives of people for many, many decades. So in that sense, we have to look and to see if the allegations by Dr. Ford have any validity. Let's be clear about something. That Dr. Ford has a right, an absolute right, to have her questions clarified, her issues explored, and the events surfaced and decoded one way or another. I don't think anybody should in any way cast any aspersions on her character or her motivations or her reasons for coming forward. She's done it. It certainly does take courage. But let's take a look now at some of the things that are going on here about who Judge Kavanaugh is. I'm a profiler. I have an institute called the Goodfield Institute, and you can look and see the things that I've said about Judge Kavanaugh in detail. All you got to do is go to their website and check it out. But I can tell you something else, that what you're going to find is in my analysis of this guy is some things that we can see. I believe that behavior is that which is observable, and I also believe that people have certain kinds of things they do with their body, conscious and unconscious, that reflect what really is going on deep inside. I call it a nonverbal leak. It's unconscious, it's repetitive, it's below the level of awareness, it reflects the real issues that are going on in people. But now when we talk about Judge Kavanaugh, who we must really think about, we can see some things that are really important. One is that he has a way, like everybody else, of managing stress and pressure. His way of doing it is to look at something, he may feel angry or upset about it, and if he does, you'll see his tongue and that. I just did it. Tongue out, eyes closed, swallow down. So those things are that nonverbal leak. It means that I look at something, the feeling's down. This is an intellectual who intellectualizes, which is part of what a guy like that does. He's a thinker, he's a feeler, but he's also a young man full of energy. He's as capable and to be on a Supreme Court, sitting there in those robes as he is in short trousers, running around a basketball court. Here's some things that I know about him. First of all, he's got a sense of duty, a sense of loyalty. He has difficulty on some levels with criticism, as he's getting a lot of it now. And he has difficulty in that sense with issues that are being pushed in his face. He is sympathetic, he's open, he's concerned, he's caring, he's a team player. He puts the team needs always before his own. He's got a sense of duty, and he's duty bound, and he's going to do the best he can to get through some of the things that are going on. He likes to find the issues, explore the issues, and look at them. What's underneath? What's really going on? He's a guy who likes to really scrutinize. If you saw the Senate hearings, I saw them all, and looked at them carefully, you can see that when somebody fired a question back, he came back with the law and the letter of the law. He's extremely well informed. So in that sense, there's no way of attacking him in terms of his education, his knowledge, and some of his history. If there was history there in terms of judicial renderings, it would have been out automatically. But here's the way that somebody made a plan to get him and to derail him. There is a plan, and I need to talk about that plan. But before I do that, I want to talk about 2 principles that were raised by Sun Tse hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years ago when he talked about the art of war. He said 2 things I think that are important that the Democrats are really taking advantage of. And that is, one of his messages is that the supreme art of war is to subdue the enemy without fighting, or at least looking like you're fighting. Then he says the other message, which I think is important, is to mystify, mislead, and surprise the enemy. So in that sense, those 2 principles by Sun Tse, I believe, are alive and well in Washington, D.C., and also sometimes even up on a big White House on a hill. So in that sense, what we see is that this 17-year-old boy, because we couldn't find anything during his other part of his life, the 17-year-old boy and a 15-year-old girl allegedly found themselves in a conflict, in a situation where one person overwhelmed another one, violated her and her rights. That's not right. In that sense, if Dr. Ford's allegations are clear, then maybe for the Democrats, their message is clear too. Mystify, surprise, and confuse the enemy. So in that sense, what we can see here is that this may be a tactic and not just necessarily a desire to find out what's really going on. But what I am saying to you is that we need to be clear about what the reasons are and what the motivations are, and that's what I'm questioning. I think that there may be some reasons here that really need to be looked at in terms of how honest are we being about being honest? How clear are we being clear? How motivated are we to find the truth? Or are we really willing to find a tactic that would derail something that you don't want to have happen? I think mystify, mislead, surprise the enemy, Sun Tzu's message a long time ago is really something, and I think that that's really part of the whole deal right here. I want to say something about an article that was written by a person by the name of Sophie Gilbert almost a year ago, 16 October last year. She talked about something that I think is really important in terms of the possibility of derailing the situation that the Democrats are so concerned about. She said this: for a long time, most women defined their sexual harassment, assault, in this way: something to be unspoken, something to be private, something to be ashamed of, something not to acknowledge. Silence, although understandable, has its cost. A decade ago, I couldn't conceive of the fact that so many women had expressed sexual coercion and intimacy. Now, I'd be surprised if I could find a single one who hasn't. As a psychotherapist, as a psychologist who's practiced on 5 continents over decades, I want to say this to you. I think it's really essential that we listen carefully and evaluate critically the allegations made by Dr. Ford. But I also want to say, if you're trying to look for a tactic to derail somebody when you can't do it in terms of his character qualifications, that is to say, if you can't do it in terms of how much education he has, how well he made his judicial decisions, and how he was as a jurist in general, if you can't find anything there, then you got to find another way. Here's the other way. Here's the 12-step program to derail Kavanaugh's appointment. First, assess your situation. Do it clearly. Find a clear picture of what the situation is, what your strengths are, what your enemy's strengths are, the weaknesses are. Make a plan to explore what appears to be your opponent's great strengths. Find out the strong points. His character certainly is one of his strong points. His integrity is certainly one of his strong points, and his belief in himself and his belief in what he calls justice is his strong point. Raise doubt and question about your opponent's greatest strengths. Question his character. Make a plan to mystify, mislead, and to surprise your adversaries. Generate doubt by remembering Sun Tzu's principle that the supreme art of war is to raise doubt and to do it in such a way that looks like you're not doing that. Maintain an honest image as an honest broker who's concerned and trying to clarify and find his way around a situation that's really unclear. Create doubt in others regarding the motivations of fellow Republican judicial members on the committee. Just say that they're ramrodding something. Find a current cause that has public support that few people can argue against and should argue against. I know one, the Me Too movement. It's a perfect fit. Present the get rid of Kavanaugh message as a patriotic quest for seeking truth by fellow Americans on a committee. Spread the message out on media platforms as much as you can, as quickly as you can, and as loud as you can. And point number 12, it is not necessary to have Dr. Ford testify, for the allegations have served to derail him already. You see, it's not just justify. It's not just justice. It's the idea of being able to win by innuendo, win by besmirching character, and not be involved in this because you're really concerned about the truth. What you don't want is to find this man someday on the United States Supreme Court. So Sun Tzu's art of war is perfectly alive and well in the halls of Congress, and even alive and well in that great big White House on the Hill. I must say that it's more, the art here is more like children finger painting and fighting in a sandbox than it is about people looking for justice for the American way and our way. Are we looking for justice, or are we looking for victory? When justice is overrun by the idea of victory, are we really finding what we really want to find? So, whether it be Kavanaugh or Ford, somebody can get tossed under the bus, and some people don't care. I'm Dr. Barry Goodfield. If you'd like to know more about what I've said and what I'm doing, please go to the goodfieldinstitute.com and read about it there. The article and the analysis are clearly stated in that place. goodfieldinstitute.com. Thanks very much.